Alrighty. I'm not even bothering to unmute or to mute myself while I set this up. Alright. We need to do some quick system management stuff here. I don't have Chat Reader up yet for any returning viewers, so not ready to read it yet. Alright. Alright, so the stream. Just a little backstory. Why this is impromptu. The stream is called QML My Life. That sounds very negative, but I promise it's not. It's a little frustrating what's going on right now, but it's not negative. Bug. Okay. April 2nd, 2025. And we're at 8:16 p.m. Okay. Alright. Now I need to set up chat monitor real quick so I can actually hear everybody. Alright, now. Light. Stream chat monitor. And... excuse me. And then... stream chat CTL list, and the daemon hang, or the daemon hung. Alright. Oh, that's not good. Oh, it's a system user service, I think. Art moment. I promise I won't be too much longer. Nope, it's not a... What am I doing? Oh, right. Ah, I get the daemon working. I kinda need the daemon working for chat to be readable out loud. Unfortunately, that's what happens when you program your own systemd daemon. It breaks sometimes. Especially when you write it in C#. You know. The best language to write a freaking systemd daemon in. Okay. The Windows loading screen will go away soon. Don't worry. Okay. Okay. Let's see if there's anybody brave enough to sit through the beginning part of this stream while I'm unmuted. Most likely it'll be nobody, but that's fine. Alright, good. At least I know it's talking to the daemon. It's doing its thing. It's grabbing the chat from YouTube API. We're good to go. I can hear everybody. Alright, let's announce this thing and get people rolling in. Hopefully. It is kind of an unusual time. News feed on the Discord. Let's go. Obviously, we need KDE emoji. Alright, I have a reverse engineering project. I really need some functioning eyes on. And I figured the entertainment value would make it worth streaming. I guess that's way to sell a stream. Oh, it didn't copy to my clipboard. GNOME terminal's not... What the hell? I don't like that happened. There we go. Now we have a link in my clipboard. That's good. Awesome. Alright. Now we announce it to Mastodon, because that's a thing you can do now. I feel weird streaming while Brody's streaming. That's good to know. It's probably way more entertaining. Alright. Oh my god, I just had the biggest anxiety over a freaking UI element bugging out. There is now a drop-down permanently visible on my monitor right now with the options KDE and Kdenlive. I don't know why Kdenlive is there. I was not talking about Kdenlive. But whatever floats your boat, Mastodon, I guess. And I'm not joking either. I don't know what this is and why it's bugged out. That's weird. Why Kdenlive of all things? Alright. So, we have work to do. Alright, Reader, you have work to do too, buddy. You gotta work. Alright. So, I have commandeered another JetBrains IDE recently. We're working in Sea Lion today. Not Rider. That's unusual. Especially for these dev streams. I usually do C#. And I usually do my own UI toolkit. And I've been hinting in the previous stream of some news. I don't know why I'm talking so loud. I've been hinting about some very secret news, but some very good news. Well, if you're new here, it's because of that news. Most likely. If not, well, welcome anyway. It's awesome. I'm a little bit tired right now. But I should probably check what monitor I'm on. It's probably okay. Good. So here's the news. I announced it yesterday, but I really want to announce it again today because yesterday, for most people, when I put that news out, was April 1st. That was not a prank. Nobody said it was, I know that. But it was not a prank. I was not joking. I was not lying. It's official. My first ever job. I'm working with KDE. I am so incredibly happy for this opportunity. Like, I'm almost crying right now. Genuinely. You don't get a position like this. Your first ever job. I'm flabbergasted still. But doesn't mean I'm that familiar with KDE and QML right now. I am still very much learning. I am still very much not good at it, and I've been creating more bugs than fixes recently. And I haven't hit the deep end yet. I haven't gone back to Kwin yet. I'd like to, probably sometime in the next few weeks. There are some bugs I'd like to fix. But I'm sticking to where it's simple and we're doing Qt quick. We're doing QML, Qt quick, and all that wonderful stuff. So, it's new. I'm not used to it. I'm not used to QML. Alright, we need music, first of all. So, one moment while I set that up. I am not streaming myself picking Spotify music. There we go. Okay. So. While I get into the groove of things here. And boot this up. Oh, it's already running. I should have noticed the little blinky lights in the corner. Not really blinky, but you know what I mean. Whoa, what the? I had my mouse hovered over something, I think. Nope. That is... Yeah, what? KDE Builder run / debug configuration. What happened? I need my writer key map. That's what we need. Let's see if I can pull the key map from writer. I don't know. At least compare and contrast. It should be the same. They're both Visual Studio, which is what I prefer. Yes, despite being a Linux user, I prefer the Visual Studio key map, and I feel weird about it. But it's what I grew up on, so... Alright. Key map. Okay, so my writer one is Visual Studio 2022. What is my Sea Lion key map? Problem I'm having right now is, in writer I'm used to hitting F5 and it builds and starts a debug session. About 13 years of muscle memory I don't want to retrain. And in Sea Lion, it's not F5. F5 brings up a selection dialog that half the time isn't on screen, so we gotta fix that. Okay, so it's Visual Studio, but not... This year 2022. There's KDE one. I don't know. There's also like a GNOME one. Cute Creator. ReSharper. Sublime Text. Studio. Windows. Xwin? What the heck? What the hell is Xwin? That's... I don't know what that is. Apparently that is the Visual Studio key map, but it's not the Visual Studio 2022 one. I want the 2022 one. I want the brighter key map. I want the one I'm used to, please. Visual Studio 2022 key map. Made by JetBrains. Install. Did you install? Yes, you did. Okay. Okay, alright. Let's get going then. Get out of the search screen, please. What the... Is there something on screen or something that I'm missing? I can't... What the hell? The UI is bugged out. Okay. I don't know what happened here. We're in... Wow, what happened? I'm gonna close out of this and not think about it. Okay. That... I've seen that in City Skylines, not seen it in Ryder yet. We were in the Schrodinger's settings page for some reason. I hope the courier is watching in the background, because that would have been a moment. Alright. What happened? Really? KDE Builder? Do I need to restart the IDE in order for key maps to take effect? You can build, you can do it. Alright. So we're in NeoChat right now. We're in my own build of NeoChat right now. It's not the same build of NeoChat that adds the text-to-speech stuff, but I'm working on something. Okay. So I've logged into my debug account, which is an account that has debug stuff on it, so deal with the debug stuff. There's me spamming myself. Yeah. So, I need to zoom in on that hat and keep it placed down. So, I've got two matrix counts going right now. One's my main one, and we're not going to log into that one. The other is, we've got... we got blue sky notifications. I'll look at that eventually. I don't use blue sky that often. I just got distracted by my phone vibrating. So I have my phone logged into my main account. on Matrix, and I've got my debug account logged in on desktop right here in front of you guys, and I'm gonna start sending a message to me. That felt weird to say. I'm gonna start sending a message to my debug account from my phone. It's gonna be gibberish. Okay. Two things are going on here. One, I stopped typing. Yeah, it finally got the hint that I stopped typing, but it only started showing that little typing indicator, which is what that's called, if you're not familiar. When I stopped typing, and start typing again, and stop typing, and it came up. It stays on for a good 10-ish seconds, I guess I want to say. You can measure that. And it disappears. So there's... Well, that's one bug. I'm not focused on that one, but that's one bug I did notice. Maybe we'll look into that eventually. Not on this stream, though. The other bug is... Well... Okay, so that time it works when backspace. That might be a bug with... You know what that might be? That might actually be a bug with Element on mobile, broadcasting the typing notification, because if I start typing and stop typing, it kind of does that. And if I backspace while it's up, it extends the timer, so that's interesting. Come on. But if I backspace and stop backspacing and like run out of things to backspace, it's instant. That's weird. Okay, I keep getting distracted by that, but notice the other very obvious difference. Kind of a bug. The typing indicator is weirdly laid out. It's in the middle now. It's really wide. And as cool as it would look in socially distant with the way that UI is designed, this is not something I want to ship with KDE. So, we gotta fix this. Now, I know what the problem is. I'm responsible for this. So I broke this. If we quit out of that build of NeoChat and then go into the main... Oh, that was me switching to the source code window. If I open up the main one, you'll notice it's a lot faster, first of all. And second of all, we go to Richie Debug here. And we're going to start typing on my phone. I need to put my phone somewhere better in reach. Okay. Notice something. You never saw the typing indicator. Let's make sure I actually did... Okay, I am streaming. Good. You never saw the typing indicator. That's because you just witnessed firsthand the tiniest little paper cut ever for me. I zoom into the screen in order to see what's going on, because I don't think anybody with moderately good eyes can read what's on screen right now. Maybe you can, if your screen's big enough, or you have good enough eyes, but I highly doubt it, on mobile especially. You're not reading this. And I'm blind, so I'm definitely not reading this. But, for me, I need to go quite far in to read it. So DPI scaling or a smaller resolution screen is not an option for me. I am not running my desktop at 640 by 480. No, not happening. Or worse, 320 by 200 would be effectively what we're at right now. Where's the typing indicator? I'll show you. This is where our story starts. It's over there. So I'm gonna keep the typing indicator going here. If we zoom in on it, first of all, main thing we notice, it's not weird and stretched out. It's not oddly specifically wide. But it's also... Oh, it gave up? Okay. It also is really far off to the left here. You see, over here is the sidebar panel for what rooms you're in. That's not ideal. At least not for me. Well, for me, I rely on the typing indicators as for communication. It's a sign for me that someone is about to say something. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I want to make sure that everyone has a chance to say what they're going to say. I don't want to text wall a lot. That's what I'm worried about. And so the typing indicators help me, because if someone's responding to me, they'll be typing. So I'll wait, see what their response is. And we have a better flowing conversation that way. But if I can't see the typing indicators, when zoomed into the chat box, when I'm typing my messages, I have to pan over to see it. And that's not ideal for me, because I have to take my hand, my right hand off the keyboard and move it onto the mouse and move on over. And I am skilled enough to type one-handed, but there are things that I can't do, and I definitely don't want to do it off screen. So what do we do? Well, what would be ideal? There's actually two ways you could solve this. The first way you could solve it, which would make things worse overall, I'll explain why, is do it the way that Discord does it, where the chat box and the messages and everything span the entire width of the message view, or the thread view, or whatever you want to call it. Chat calls it a timeline view. So the messages span the entire width of the timeline. It'll solve the problem, because when you're zoomed in on the chat box, your typing indicators are going to be right here, where my mouse is, if you can see that. I don't know if OBS captures it well, but just below this random gibberish here would be your typing indicator. And so you're typing a message along, and the typing indicator pops up, and you know to stop and backspace things up a little bit, give someone time to talk. Right. The problem, however, is what you get when you visit one of those ancient 1990s HTML1 web pages with an ultra-wide monitor. Really, really wide text. And that's another problem for accessibility, not for blind people necessarily, but for people with reduced mobility. You have to move your head around to get all the text in view, if your display is wide enough. That's not great. It would be a lot better if it was laid out the way it is right now, where it's center aligned. There's a maximum width everything can take up. Most websites do this nowadays, most articles do this nowadays, and NeoChat does this. Microsoft Teams, I believe, does this. Many of the productivity-related chat applications do this. I think even Nextcloud Talk does. So there's definitely a rhyme to this reason, or there's definitely a rationale for this to be made. You don't have to move your head to read everything. If the font size is big enough, you have the room, you have everything in view, you don't have to look left or right, and this kind of layout is also more suitable for mobile and for vertical monitors. I had to think for a sec there, because you know that there's going to be this maximum amount of space, and you can lay things out based on that. So, you know, it makes sense. Typing indicators should follow that philosophy. They should be aligned with the left edge of this kind of bounding box you can imagine here. And when you're typing your message along, it should show above right where the message box is. It can either span the entire width if you want that visual notice when you're zoomed in, that, you know, you won't see who's typing, but you'll see how, or you'll see that someone started typing if the display is noticeable enough to you. And so, you know, to stop a little bit, look over, if you want to, and at least you know that someone's typing if that's important to you. Or you could just have it span the space it needs, but still be aligned with the timeline. And then you would have it in view when when you're typing your message at the start. You just wouldn't see it at the end here. So there's two ways you could do that with this kind of layout, and I want to implement one of them. So that led me. Oh, hi, OBS. You scared me. That led me to my build of NeoChat, which takes a little bit longer to start up because it's running under a debugger. That'll become important later in the stream. So that resulted in me trying to move it over. But I messed it up. Let me explain how. Let's look at the code and find out how it's laid out. So, first place you want to go is we're interested in the timeline view. QML. This is the code for the timeline view, effectively. There is some backing C++ to set some of this up, but it's the definition of all the layout and everything and what you see and how you see it. And if we scroll down a little bit, or, you know, find, you search for typing pane, and you'll see where I've gotten my grubby hands. We have, well, let's just switch branches and see what I've done. So we'll switch to master. Now, I could do a diff. Problem is, diffs are hard for me to read because of my blindness, so we're gonna go ahead and not do that. Sorry, guys. Okay, so this is the build cache version of it, so we don't want to be looking at that. If anyone knows how to exclude, wait, no, source QML, yeah, that's what I want. I like, oh, there's your local changes to the, okay, oh my. Reading is important. Okay. I thought I was in the build cache because it didn't update, but no, it's fine. It did update. It's just that it ignored me because I am dumb and silly and forgot to wipe my changes that I shouldn't have wiped. I should have stashed them. I don't know how to do git stash yet. I have to learn that. So this is upstream NeoChat. This is what you get in KDE right now. And we have typing pane here. This, would you believe it, is the widget that shows your typing indicator. And let me explain how it works. First thing we have is this ID. I'm explaining this for people who aren't super familiar with reading QML, which would be I'd argue most of my community right now, which is great to know. But you know, if you're not used to QML, here's how it works. So we have this typing pane. This tells Qt that we want to put a typing pane here. So go ahead and put that widget on screen. We give it an ID of typing pane with a lowercase t. And that allows us to access this component inside of other components effectively, and inside of properties, and inside of code. So I can now address this as typing pane anywhere in this QML file. Then we have this little visible thing here. So it's property. I don't know why I called it a thing. I'm in Richie's Toolbox mindset right now, where things are actually called things. Visible. So this is a property, and it is set to the value of root.currentRoom and root.currentRoom.otherMembersTyping.length is greater than 0. So if you're used to languages like C#, this is gonna seem weird. But not really. Really, what this is just a property getter. It's an expression. So what it'll do is it'll look at this this root.currentRoom and go, is this a valid thing? Yes, it is. Or no, it's not. If it is, well, you get this little and operator here, the logical and. It'll check if this is true, and this other condition is true. So, well, all it's doing is checking if the current room is valid, and the current room has at least one other member typing. That's what that does. And the result of that will become the value of the visible property. Now, this is really powerful, because we, at this point, haven't really written any code, or really explained any code. We haven't hit any code yet. This is just data. QML, behind the scenes, when it detects a change of this, of these values here, of the current room or the number of members typing, you'll get an update, and this will rerun, and the visible property will change. I know that's a fairly common thing in UI toolkits nowadays, but that is not something I have written in Socially Distant yet, and I'm jealous already. I want to write that, so I might investigate that someday on my own time. Next we have a label text property, and in this case, it's if we're visible, then what it'll do is it'll grab internationalized text. I don't know what the NCP means. Okay, I-18N is internationalization, but I don't know what CP means in this case. It's definitely probably not copy. But it goes message displays are displayed when some users are typing. Oh, I think contextual parameters maybe is what that's a reasonable guess, right? Okay. So I think I know what this means. This first string here is a description of what the translators would need to write, or like what's trying to be said in this string. Might not be parameters. It could also be pluralized. I'll have to do some reading as to what that CP means, but okay. So the next string would be sent 2. I think that's the parameter, maybe. So this might be for what it is if it's only one person typing. So singular. And then this is the format for plural. So if there's 0 or 2 or more people typing, or negative people are typing, I guess, maybe. Not that that would happen. But, and then it passes in the number of people typing. Okay. So figured out what this is. Okay, so we're filling out the actual label that displays when people are typing. So if nobody's typing, you get this blank string. So that's what this colon afterward. That's the end of the ternary above. I know this is not KDE's standard, but this, for anyone who's wondering why I generally don't write ternaries on one line like this, in my own code at least, I write them like this. So it's very clearly, very clearly, you know what the condition is. It's visible. So if the thing is visible, you go here, and you grab this value. Otherwise, you go here and you grab this value. So it's very clear which one's which. And I never nest ternaries, which this doesn't do. So it's good. But I always write my ternaries on 3 lines like this. We're not lacking disk space anymore. We have big enough screens that you can read this, honestly. And it just so improves my ability to read through the code as a blind person, because I don't have the entire width of the screen on screen at any given time. And it can be really hard to keep track of what level of parentheses nesting I'm in, or things like that, and to lose track of where the actual value expression ends, and then it can be hard for me to read what I'm trying to say. So we're not going to do that, because I don't think that's KDE's preferred style guide. I highly doubt it. I could look, but I don't know. And it also might be slightly important for performance, because QML is kind of JavaScripty, and I don't think it is compiled, is it not? I think so. It might be. It might not be. I don't know. I'll have to do some reading. I don't know too much about QML. Either way, really long little practice session here. All this is it's setting how many people are typing, or it's setting the actual text you read. So if I start typing, it'll say Richie is typing. If I and Nate Graham start typing, it's going to say Richie and Nate Graham are typing. Or in this case, I don't think it'll do the and, just because I don't think it has that enough context. It'll just put commas in between the two of us, but that's fine. Now we have anchors.left, parent.left. So this widget is stuck to the left side of its parent. So if the parent moves, it moves too. That's what that does. And then this one sticks it to the bottom. So anchors.bottom, parent.bottom. Wherever the bottom of this widget's parent will be, the bottom of this widget will be. Another thing I really wish Certainly just didn't have. I'll look into that. It would be really handy to have that. I'll have to look into implementing an anchor system. I'm gonna steal a lot of layout ideas from Qt. I love Qt. Alright. Then we have what we have here is another ternary property. So height. What this does is if we're visible, we set ourselves to our implicit height. This is effectively our content height. So in Qt, you can have kind of two definitions of a widget side, or of a widget's size. At least that's how I understand it right now. You have your implicit height, which is how much things theoretically take up. So if you have like a piece of text and it says the word KDE, well, however much space is needed to show the word KDE effectively is going to be the implicit width of that text. And however space, or however much height you need to show it would be the implicit height. But you can also set an explicit width and height, which will be how much space the widget actually takes up. And that's what this seems to be doing. So the typing indicator is going to be only so much tall normally. That's going to be its implicit height. But if it's not visible right now, we don't want it to be that tall. We want it to be 0. That way it gets completely called out, never rendered, all that wonderful stuff. This would be the equivalent and socially distant of setting a widget to collapsed, is what this is doing. And if it's not collapsed, then it's going to take up its full ordinary height. And if it is collapsed, it's going to take 0 and not render. Okay, then we have this behavior here. This is an animation. So, when the height changes, we're going to run, or we're going to do some stuff in this behavior. And when we have this animation behavior, it's a number animation, and it affects the property height. And it has a duration set by Kirigami, which is kind of KDE's UI toolkit. And it has the short duration. So this is themed. Clever. Wow. I should do that in socially distant too. Yeah, I will. And then the easing type here, this is your animation curve. It's really simple. You tell it what to set. You tell it how long the animation should last. You tell it how smooth it should be. Then here's your Z order. So, puts it above things. It's effectively what that does. If you use HTML, you know what that is. And everything socially distant needs. So that's the anatomy of the typing indicator, basically. So, basically what this does is it'll be visible when someone's typing and not visible otherwise. I'm not going to delve into how the animations work for the little ... thing, the ellipsis. But it's, you see a lot of similar things in there. I've looked at it already. Okay, so what have I changed? We're gonna list out the branches that I have. So we have the read aloud one, typing indicator layout fix. That's what we want. Alright. So what have I done? Well, just pull this QCC pane. Row layout. That's what's new here. You're going to see a lot of similar things. So right here we have visible. It's going to be the result of the current room being valid and there being at least one member typing. That makes this visible. What I've done here is I've anchored it to the left and to the right and to the bottom of the parent. So this takes this row layout and stretches it across the bottom of the timeline view. In fact, I can show this by wrapping it in a rectangle. And setting its color to red. If I boot that one up, after closing the existing NeoCAD instance, that's kind of important. Come on, you can compile, you can do it. I picked the worst possible night to, or worst possible time to stream. Everybody's asleep. It does take a while to boot up because of debug symbols and all that. It's great. Okay. So, logging in is a debug. If I start typing, it's gonna embarrass me. What happened? So it's at this point, we look for QML errors, because I don't know what happened there. Okay, this is all relatively normal and not an indication of a bug. I know what the problem is. It's because I broke the layout when I wrapped it in the rectangle. Okay, I can't do that without messing with the anchors. I had to think through that for a sec. So we're gonna get rid of that. But what I was gonna try to show clearly shows that I'm not too familiar with QML yet and how it works and kind of the intricate details of it and kind of the basic necessities of knowledge for it. Oh god, it's okay, there we go. Do it the old C# way of fixing that stuff. Okay. I was gonna try to wrap it in a rectangle to show where the bounding box is, but, can't do that. There's probably a debug tool I can use or something to do that, but I don't know what we got. Okay. So, back to what I've done. So it's stuck to the bottom, and it spans the width. Good. And we have the height. The same kind of, if it's visible, then take the implicit typing pane. Otherwise, collapse it. That's what that does. And then we have the Z2 up here, so that this panel is, or this row layout is above everything. Or at the very least that its children are available, or are above everything. That's what we want. Now, why is it a row layout? Well, it's because it's a horizontal box. It lays things out in a horizontal row layout. That's what I want. The reason I want that is because it lets me ditch the anchoring system of Qt. So, anchoring is fine. It's cool. But I need a bit of dynamic control over this layout. Because there's mobile. There's that stuff is a thing that exists. I have to make sure this stays on screen on all screens. So I have the animation here and all that stuff, so it rises up and stuff like that. But as a child of this rollout, I have the typing pane. So it's still there, it's just with a lot less properties bound to it. So ID, typing pane, label text, same internationalized text and all that stuff that we looked at earlier. Layout alignment, align center. Layout fill width, true. Layout maximum width, 600. That is why the layout is weird. Since they've arbitrarily set it to 600 pixels. Or 600 cute units. Why did I do that? I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't know what the actual value should be. We need to figure that out. That's what this stream is. So, let's learn more about how Qt, or both QML and NeoChat work. So, we're in the timeline view right now. So timeline view is, obviously, the layout of the timeline. The timeline being your hat. There's a list of messages in the hat. Where will we find that? I'll give you guys a hint. We're already kind of looking at it. So, if we scroll up a lot, until we get out of this indentation level, here we are. So, line 57, we're in a list view. Now, list views in Qt are almost functionally identical to list adapters in Socially Distant. It takes a model of data and a list of that data, and it displays it in widgets. That's what a list view does, and that's what a list adapter does. So it's functionally identical for the purposes of me learning Qt. And this, based on the ID, is the message list view. So now we have a concrete idea of where the messages are. Why do we need to know that? We need to know how much space the messages are allowed to take up. It's got to be stored or calculated somewhere because we have that fixed width. So let's keep drilling into this. Now, list view in Qt is going to have a model which describes the shape of the data and how much data there is. And it's going to contain a delegate, which is a kind of template for how the model will be displayed in the UI. So maybe you have a list of people, and each person has an avatar assigned to them, maybe a URL or a file path, or in Socially Distant an asset ID. You have the person's name and their online status, or the most recent message they read, or something like that you want to display below their name. That would be in your data model. And then the list of people and all of these values associated with those people is part of the data model. The delegate takes those properties for each person in the list, and it uses an image widget to display the avatar, and a text widget with a certain font and style to display the user's name, and another text widget below that to display the comment or the most recent message or whatever you put there. And it wraps the text in a little vertical box so it's aligned, so it's arranged in a column layout. And then you start to see the picture here, if you're imagining and kind of good at visualizing like I am. You start to see the little picture here form in your head of, okay, well now we have this horizontal box wrapping the avatar and that vertical box, and now you have this little, you have the users list in your hat, basically. Well, this is the message list. The message is going to have a type, it's going to have an author, and it's going to have some other information based on the type, and this is how that gets displayed. So I believe this timer right here happens every second. And it runs, I guess this means running while this is true. So while we're at the bottom of the list, or the beginning of the list, I mean. It's triggered on start, so when you start it, it immediately starts, or if it waits to the interval first, I guess. And when it's triggered, okay, so every second it fetches more and more messages. Alright, I don't need to read too far into that. Okay. Okay, so it's not if you're at the bottom of the thread, it's for if you're at the very top and you're scrolling up. I think. Let me know if I'm right. I want to know. Okay. Hack. The view should do this automatically, but doesn't. I didn't break that. It's not me. Okay, this looks functionally identical to what runs in the timer. I guess maybe they're working around the fact that maybe there's a race condition or something wrong with the timer, maybe? I don't know. Okay, we have another timer down here. Room painting. So every second... Okay, this is for unread marking. Or for read marking. When you visit a room, it tries to mark things as read if they're visible. I'm not sure, though. Okay, this seems to be all related to read markings, so we're not gonna worry too much about that. Okay, we have a footer. I scrolled by something, didn't I? I think I did. No, this is where we were. Okay, so this, you can read the comment if it's open source. I'm not putting my screen reader through that, but I've read it already. I basically understand the gist of it, I guess. We got this function here. Sea Lion's telling me it's not called, but I'm at least 99% certain it's called somewhere. Because... oh, it says no use. I still don't believe that. That's the case. Okay, so footer, I think... okay, I didn't know you could do this with a list view. Apparently you can. Um, trying to figure out what this footer is. I'm getting distracted by it. I'm not gonna worry about it. Wait a minute. Okay, no, this won't help me. I thought I had found a maximum width value I could use, but no, I don't think that's gonna help me. Um, Better positioning, list view. Overlay header? That... Okay. Alright. I don't know what an overlay header means. Does that mean it shows top? It shouldn't. It's footer. I don't know what that is. I'm scared. Um, alright. So at the very, you know what? Not at the bottom. Right below the footer, but not at the bottom. Um, is the delegate. And it's an event delegate. Taking in a room. The current room. So event delegate is going to be the template for how a message is displayed. And it's through this reasoning that we can determine that the message is also known as an event, which may come in handy. So we're going to click on it. And we're going to have it not work because the LSP isn't that great right now in Sea Lion. I need to upgrade my builds. But we take a note of the name and we search eventdelegate.qml. And if you're using Sea Lion like I am, you make sure you click the one that says SRC. If it says build, don't touch it. If it's anything else than SRC, do not touch it. It's going to look almost identical to the source code, but any changes you make to it will not be compiled, and you'll be frustrated for a good 2 hours like I was. Figuring out why the file isn't saving, even though it's saving and it's not the right file. That made me really upset when I figured out that was the case. So don't make that mistake. Learn from me. Alright. So, we're in this message delegate.qml, and so basically, with QML, it's very declarative, and we haven't looked at a QML file from this high up before, at the very first level. So, in QML, the very first thing you define after importing modules, which works the same way it does in C# and other programming languages, this is like declaring the base class of this component effectively, if you're familiar with inheritance. It's not quite the same, but effectively this is defining the type of this QML component. In this case, the event delegate component is a delegate chooser. So, we can look at what the properties of this delegate chooser are, but it's realistically not going to help us much in terms of layout, because all we have is this ID of root, and that's so you can address it, which you definitely need a lot of times in QML. We have a property definition. So this is where that room property came from. It's read-only, no, it's required. I misread that. It's required, it's property, and it's of type NeoChat room, and it's a room. So this is how you set the room you're in for this delegate user. Role, I believe, is for accessibility descriptions. I'll have to look into that. I'll need to read some documentation. We have a bunch of delegate choices. Now, if we look at these, that's all we have, other than those three things that I just read off to you guys. So we have a delegate choice here, and it takes in a role value. Okay, I stand corrected. I stand corrected. This is not accessibility related. This is list view model related. I think. This might be telling it that the content being passed in from the list model would be the delegate type. I don't have much experience with list models in Qt yet, but I believe that's what that is. It's filtering what kind of content is rendered to delegate types instead of like the actual object data. There's going to be a role value property, probably implied by the fact this is a list model. Or not a list model, a cute quick item, which is a list item. I think we need to skip this song. So it's probably gonna have a role value of type delegate type, and then it's gonna define the property of the delegate to use. So a component to use, I guess. So if it's a state, if the message, I believe the delegate type just means message type. So if it's a message type of a state message, like, you know, when you're in the KDE matrix or something like that, and it goes, KDE moderation has changed the access control lists for this room or whatever. I believe that's a state message. And then if it's a state message, well, we're going to display this kind of state delegate here. So you can click on that. Okay. So, I know why the LSP was having trouble. It's because I'm going to show you guys. So we don't need to look at these delegate choices. We need to know about the delegate user itself. So, I'm going to click on it. And go to... No, we're not. No, we're not. Okay, I stand corrected. Delegate user, I believe, is built into Qt Quick. Yeah, we have Qt Quick layout. And then Qt Labs, QML models. And or KDE NeoChat, so you can access NeoChat specific stuff. Okay. Okay, we do need to look at the delegate choices. Okay, so the one right below state is message. And delegate. So Melegate. Melegate Decid. That was what I was about to say. The delegate is the message delegate. That takes in the current room. We're going to click on that. And a message delegate. What is a message delegate? Why did it help me to this comment? There's clearly something here that the LSP did not pick up on. Something bugged out here. Why is there a light bulb on this blank line? Okay. Okay. So, message delegate is a timeline delegate for drill and fervor. The LSP did not like me doing that, so we're gonna go ahead and... Okay. So we have a slight problem. I'll give you guys a hint. There is no such thing as timeline delegate.qml. A timeline delegate is a QML type, but it's not written in QML. It is written in the best programming language ever. C++. Welcome to 2018 Ridley, everybody. We're back in Unreal Engine. No, we're not. We're in Qt. It's fine. Everything's fine. There's no Unreal Engine. Alright. So we're in a Qt header, and... Or not. This is actually a Qt C file, or C++ implementation file. So, one thing I've noticed about KDE conventions, at least in these QML projects, is the QML names for files use Pascal case, which is more readable to me, personally. And generally what you do in C# as well, so I'm used to it as well. But the actual native code, the stuff written in C++, they all don't... They're all lowercase. I'm not a fan of that convention, if I'm being honest, but I'll live with it. It'll be fine. So let's look at this header. So timeline delegate. Yeah, see, the file names are all lowercase like that with no separation, but the actual class names aren't. They're in Pascal case. So, not sure why that's the case. Okay, Qt quick item. Okay, this is Qt quick itself, but it's just a Q object and a QML parser. I hope that's an interface and that we're not doing multiple inheritance of classes and behaviors. That's terrifying. I'm not gonna question that. We're not gonna look at internal Qt code. Okay. This is a Qt quick item. It's the list item. Okay, I'm reading stuff here. So, this is a Q property. This is how you tell Qt that a piece of C++ memory can be used in QML, and how it can be used. So, in Qt quick, properties are generally reactive, meaning that when they change, the UI changes. Automatically, mostly. So this macro, the way it works, Qt property, is the first parameter is... Okay, so the first section is kind of the name of the property and the type. So it's of type Qt quick item, it's a pointer, and it's a content item. So that's the name of it. And then the next statement is read. This means that it's going to read using this function, content item. So if we click on that, it's going to take us all the way down here, and it is a function. It's QQuickItem function, or QQuick. It's function that returns QQuickItem. So this is a property reader. Now, the next statement is right. This tells you that it's going to call this function when the property is changed from within QML. And then notify. Notify, I believe, it's either going to be called when the property changes by Q. No, that doesn't make sense to me. You know what? We'll click on it. Okay, this is a cute signal. So, I misunderstood that for a sec. It came back to me. The way it works is the right statement here tells you that this is the function that's going to get called when the property is set from within QML. The notify function is a signal that QML is going to subscribe to and listen for, and you have to call it from within C++ when you change the property to notify it that the property's changed. So that's what I meant by the automatic mostly. If you're doing stuff in C++, you do have to tell QML that things have changed. That makes things a little flexible. I don't know what the final statement here. It might mean that the property is readable, but then there's a write statement, so not quite. I don't know. I'll have to do some digging into that one. That's Q property. There's a few of these. We have a Boolean. Always fill width. We might be interested in that. So, okay, this is another thing I'm implemented. I'm interested in the left padding. So we have this this set left padding. Modify a left padding changed. Okay. First thing I want to do is look at this set left padding method. So this is the setter. What it does is it checks if the left padding has actually changed, or is about to change, I should say. If it hasn't, then we stop what we're doing. If it has, then we change the property, and then we emit that signal that tells QML that the property has changed. So I'm gonna put a breakpoint on that. Because now I want to see what's going on in the code. Mastodon is popping off. Okay. Cool, we got some followers. Hi, Neo Chat, you finally booted. You take me out of the social media plunge. Thank you. Alright. Okay, that breakpoint should have been called. Or should have been hit. Why was that not hit? That's a bit worrying. Okay. Rather unfortunately, that breakpoint seems to never been hit. Okay, does it ever get red? No. Ah! Why are my breakpoints not being hit? That had to have red. What about the resize content method? Oh, that hit. It hit something. Oh, you guys know what the problem is? Maybe a debug build, but I do believe it's an optimized debug build. That is not ideal. I have to figure out... I don't really want it to be optimized. I do actually want to see what's going on. Build type. Okay, what is the default? I'm gonna set it to debug. It was already on debug, wasn't it? It might have already been on debug. That might have been the default. Why would it? Then why is there so much optimization going on? I want to debug things. I don't want it to run necessarily fast. Okay, I do want it to run necessarily fast, but... I don't need to run it super fast. Okay, that's not gonna help me out much. manage tool pane. See what's in there. I'm getting... Okay, debugger, ADB, yeah, it's great. We're gonna discard that warning. That warning is there. We're gonna forget that it's there, and this is not the dialogue I want. I could have sworn... You know what, I'm not gonna worry about it. It is what it is. If I can't debug it, then I can't debug it. It's fine, I'll work around the fact that there's... Unfortunately... too much inlining going on. Which is, I'm assuming, what's going on. It's taking a weird amount of time for that to load. Okay. Come on. Oh! We hit a breakpoint. Okay. Let's resize content. Okay, what is max available width? Uh-huh. Threads and variables. I'm a little sketched out that I can't see any of it. Where's the value? That's not good. Something is very much broken. What's going on the ADB side of things? You're downloading symbols. Oh, you're downloading source files. But are you still downloading source files? That is the question. Hmm. Did it stop debugging? That shouldn't have happened. I think it died on me. That would explain it. I've had this happen in Unreal as well. Oh, we got Shazam hacking in. That is not how you pronounce that. Don't crash again, please. Don't crash again. You can do it. You can do it. By Windows? Oh, KDE, careful, buddy. Command timed out? What the frick does that mean? Who killed me? Who killed me? Why did I get a sync kill? What killed me? You know, I kind of need to debug this to reverse engineer how it works. You know, just throwing that out there, cute. I hope that wasn't cute that killed me. It could have been a watchdog, yeah, but why wouldn't it break all threads? Why wouldn't it pause all threads? That doesn't... It would in .NET? I think it should break all threads. It'd be nice if it broke all threads. There must be a way to get it to break all threads. I can really tell the debugger is murdering the render performance, though. It takes a while for things to load in. Alright, no watchdog, please. There's only one thread running. It can't be a watchdog. Not one started by the process, at least. It might be another process completely, but that just makes things even worse. Sure shit, I got Sig killed again. No? Wait, yeah? There it is, Sig kill. Alright, let's... Because things are being weird in CLI, I'm gonna restart it. I do believe my key map got completely ignored. Thank you, Ryder, or CLIN, or whatever the hell is responsible for that not working. Sure takes a while to boot it. Oh, there it is. Delete that, delete it, delete it, delete it, before it crashes, delete it. Oh wait, it's stuck collecting data. Ryder, I was reading the GDB logs. You could have let me... It really did kill ADB. Or it didn't kill... What? Why did it... That is really frustrating that it's not letting me stay in the debugger long enough to figure out who's calling this. I have an idea. It's a little unorthodox, but because I know we're looking for timeline delegate, I'm gonna search for it in a header. And I am not thrilled that my meta key cannot be pressed while in an input field. That does seem like a Kwin regression for the zoom functionality. I need like that's a mandatory thing. I can't. I need to be able to zoom in and out while in an input field. Like there's no negotiating that. What the KDE? You were doing so well. I'll have to look into that. I don't know what's causing that, but that should not happen. Well, zoomed in with a hotkey bound to zoom. That's new. Hmm. I don't see any use of it. I don't see any use of it whatsoever in C++, in any headers. I don't think any of this code is ever called within C++ directly. That's handy. I really wish I had matzo sticks beside me right now. What the... Okay, it's QML element. We knew that already. I'm getting focused. Okay, so these are all just the, Okay, max available width. What is that? Okay, so... Alright, okay, I'm not gonna be able to get anything without a debugger in C++ for now. I want to look instead at message delegate.qml because I know it sets its left padding value here. Eventually it does, at least. Okay. So, here's where I'm confused. We have this message property here. I genuinely don't know where that comes from. Okay, it's got documentation. But where is this from? Because I know timeline delegate isn't timeline delegate.h. It's a QML item element. But what is message? What do we include here? Okay, we got Kirigami platform utils. We've got an include guard. And we import QQuick item, that's fine. The only thing I can think of is there's gotta be a property in here called message somewhere. I don't see any other way. Maybe there's a header file message delegate. Nope. I don't know where it gets. Okay. I need to do more digging. Okay, we have message content filter item. Message content filter item, message content model. Message model. Okay, there's Q abstract list model. I've seen that before. QML on I don't know what that means. Okay, so we got the room. We've got an enum. Got an explicit constructor here. Okay, so this looks like familiar code to me. Right, it's not really helpful. Let's see what role names has to say. We have okay. So there's delegate type. There's event index. Time. Section. Author. Read. Okay. I found all the freaking role or effectively variable names, I guess, for all the different fields in a message. Ah, man. I still don't know where that message value gets. I don't know where that comes from. Okay, we'll go back to message delegate. Where's bubble size helper? I wish I knew where the left and right padding came from. Because it seems to circle back to that. And that's a little frustrating, because I don't know where bubble comes from. Bubble.qml, maybe? I've been wondering... I've been wondering what the hell all this quotient stuff means. It's very clearly a namespace. Is quotient a matrix pun? Is this a freaking math pun in the code? Because NeoHat is a matrix client. A matrix is not just a chat protocol, it's actually also a math term. So is quotient. I forget what quotient means in math, but I do know it's a math term. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is a message bubble for sure. I see a freaking icon and a row. No. And a column layout. Nope, I don't. I think this is the surroundings of a message. Let's read the brief. Hat bubble for okay, yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's just the bubble. That's not helpful. Wait. Message.qml? Aw. Okay, it's column layout. Okay, we got markdown text. Align 8 center? That's weird. Doesn't seem correct. Unless it's aligning, unless not individual lines, but like the entire widget is getting aligned. Okay, either way. None of this is gonna give me a width. That's not helpful. Alright. Where does max available width get its width from? Okay, I heard my phone vibrate earlier. So. I see Neo Gompa in the Neo hat. Okay. I have to keep looking. See, it would be nice if my debugger wasn't getting killed by some sort of random watchdog or something like that. That would be... It'd be handy. Could it be... Okay. I wonder if this is targeting all child widgets of type message within this widget or component, whatever you want to call it. That would make sense because theoretically you could have multiple messages in the same theoretically, I guess. Maybe you could. I don't know if that's actually the case, but okay, I need to find bubble size helper. I wonder. Main container. We're gonna have to find out what that is. But just for a haw, what happens if I change the 60 to a 5? I might be onto something here. Okay, my hypothesis is changing that 60 to a 5 means that a message can only take up 5% of the container width now. And if that's the case, then I might know exactly what's going on here. Which would be really handy. Okay. So, I'm gonna log in. Oh, right, that breakpoint's gonna crash things again. It's fine. Once it hits, I'll clear it, and then it'll be fine. Yeah, so just hit. Clear it out. Let it continue execution. Alright, so. Notice how this text gets wrapped very weirdly. In fact, it's so bugged out, there's so little width that my username is outside of the bounds of the actual effectively where you're supposed to put things. That is what changing that 60 to a 5 means. So, I'm on to something here. So, if the message is supposed to always fill the width, then it'll always fill the width. In either case, no matter what. But, on mobile, or on the smallest breakpoint, so likely mobile, start percent width, if it doesn't always fill the width of the container, it's going to be 90%. So, think on a phone, you're in like, Element or not Element, any chat program on mobile that displays your message as being right aligned. On mobile, you don't want that taking 60% of the width because the wrapping would be weird. You want more space for the text. But on desktop, you have more space to give the text, so you can effectively decrease the proportions, and then this is what that's doing. So it adds cleaner design. So, based on that, the parent width of the message is going to be derived from the main container available width. Subtracting, well, first of all, we need to know whether the user wants avatars to be visible in the timeline. Maybe they don't. But, if they do... Whoa, things are getting all jumpy on me. If we do, then we subtract the avatar width plus the margin between the avatar's right side, or the avatar edge and the message bubble edge, which you can get from the bubble component. But if the user doesn't want to see avatars, well, they're not going to be visible, so I don't need to subtract that spacing from this. What is main container available width? Okay, we got ID main container. Okay. So it's an item delegate. layout fill width, layout top margin, layout left margin. We got origami stuff going on here. Right margin. Implicit height. Okay. Well. Unfortunately not quite helpful. But where are we? Eh, we're back here. We're back where we started. We went in a circle. God damn it. Fell with. There's gotta be something I can glean from this. Avatar flow. I'll get size helper. Um, Main container. I gotta go back to main container. I gotta find out what it's parented to. Or rather, what is providing all the space. I don't... Okay, so... Content item. We got timers. Ah, I know what it's gonna be parented to. It's just gonna be... I was so close, but I don't know what main container's width is meant to be. I'm so confused. But we're getting there, I think. Okay, you are anchoring, which is interesting. That wasn't really useful to know, honestly. I don't see any kind of like spacer or anything either, which is I don't know where it's getting all the padding from. Tap handler, tap handler. Okay, avatar flow is for read marking. Yeah, unfortunately this is not helpful. What is in private here? Ooh! Today I learned you can configure whether a user message is aligned to the right. I might turn that off. Um, cool. I didn't know that. Well, now I do. Alright. Still not sure where all the padding goes. Or ever where it all comes from. Let's go back to timeline view, maybe. So we have the delegate here. Okay. So we're in a scroll view, then there's the list view. Once again, though, I don't understand where that main container gets its padding from, or it's available with. Okay, vertical layout direction. Message filter model. Okay, these are all the timers we looked at earlier. We have floating button here. You know what? I wonder if I could... Maybe I could use the width of a section banner? I don't know. I'm getting pretty tired. Yeah, this is layout fill width. That implies that this column layout... Oh, what the heck? Okay. I want to look at that model. Message filter model. We got roles. We get the explicit constructor. Data. There's role names. Test authors? What does that mean? Hey, none of this is helpful. Okay, it's for sorting. It's not going to be helpful to me for finding that width value that I need. Okay. I have an idea. It's gonna be a really buggy idea. But it's gonna get the point across of what I'm trying to do. Alright, I'm gonna give this a try. See what it does. It's a hack, but I want to see if dividing the width by 2 is gonna do what I expect. It probably won't. That's a buggy text wrapping. Hello, Richie from Pokemon. I'm scared by my desktop background. Um, okay, well... Actually, that looks like half of the width of the parent. I could be onto something here. Let me try something. I swear to God, if this makes it span the width of the thread or of the timeline and not the actual surrounding white space, that's what I've been trying to do this entire stream. If it makes it do that, and I find out that it was a one-liner this entire time, I hope I'm wrong. Oh. Okay. Who wants to bet? I'm working on the build guide. Yep. Okay, be careful of that. I knew it wasn't working right. So. Alright, let's see if that makes it, span the width of what I think it should. Okay, that didn't quite... Not quite what I'm going for. Nope, nope, nope. That stretched it across the entire bottom of the screen. Let's add that divide by 2 back in. Sure does take a while to boot. Oh. Okay, so half is not quite it. Alright. But you get what I'm going for, effectively. It's not... It's by no means positioned properly, but... The text effectively displays where very close to where I want it to be when this actually functions properly. I just can't get the width down, guys. I can't figure it out. The only thing I think of is there's some function that's setting it in the timeline, like based on config or something, but like I don't know, and it's very confusing because every time I find a lead, I end up going in circles. Also, my mouse sensor is dying right now. It is not handling things right. Okay. Okay, we got connections here. I have to look into what that is. This must be signal connections, right? Oh, hey, I know that person. Maybe they could help me figure out what's going on here. What am I supposed to do? Okay, go to last message. No. Meant to index. No. First visible, it no. Last bit, no. Oh, on red no. So however, I know. Go to that, no. Page up, no. Page down, no. Position view at beginning, no. Position, no. None of that's helpful. There's some mystery padding somewhere. There's some mystery margin somewhere. There's an anchor somewhere. There is something mysterious is going on. And I'm ready to phone it in. Okay. So, here's where we're at. This entire stream I've been trying to figure out the distance from this left edge to Ritchie right here. Or alternatively, the distance from my hat bubble here, the right edge of it, to the right edge of the view. If I know those two values, I can subtract them from parent width, and I know how wide the typing indicator area needs to be. I don't know those values. I don't know where to find them. You guys saw me looking as hard as I possibly could. So, for now at least, mission failed. But I'm not going to be defeated that easily. I'm going to do some asking around. I'm going to keep poking around. It is 11 p.m. I have effectively been working on KDE for 10 hours today. I'm gonna stop. I had fun though. I did learn a lot. Reading through the code and trying to understand how things work. I'm a little annoyed that I couldn't find what I was looking for, but QML is interesting. I'm gonna learn a lot, so it's exciting. But ultimately this time around, mission failed. I could not find those two values I need. Oh well, not all streams are successful. I'll find it though. I'll find out how to fix that issue. And I'm gonna make the best damn typing indicator you'll ever see. Okay, I didn't make the typing indicator, but I'm at least gonna put it in a good spot. And for now, hit this button. I'm gonna say goodbye. Because there is nothing left for me to do. I cannot find that thing. It sucks. But, anyway. I was gonna be really annoyed if I found out my mic's been muted the entire stream. Okay. To all the people out there making my Mastodon light up, it's awesome. Thank you. I'm really excited to be working with KDE and KDE EV. It's fun. I'll say this right now, Nate Graham's a beautiful human being. If you guys ever get the chance to meet him. I don't know how to outro this. It's gonna take a while before I get super comfortable doing KDE stuff. In terms of skill. So I don't know if I'm gonna be doing another one of these streams for a bit. I might go back to socially distant, but I'm gonna keep working on KDE, obviously. Either way. if you enjoy what I do, took me a while to think about that. Um, there is the Patreon link in the description below. Alternatively, you know, donate to KDEEV. It's important. But if you do support me on Patreon, you do get early access to socially distant devlogs and occasional updates that I don't post on Mastodon. And you support the development of Britney's Toolbox, my game engine and user interface toolkit, which would mean a lot to me. And yeah, other than that, I don't know what else to say. I'm gonna end off the stream pretty soon. There's the Discord. You guys can join that if you want. And there's also a Matrix room I'm working on. So, yeah. There's ways to reach me. There's ways to join the community. I'm around. But until the next stream or the next video, as always, I've been Richie. And I'll see you guys later. I'm tired. Alright. 3, 2, 1. Bye, guys.